inside the Niger Delta.
The tragedy that has become Oloibiri, the rusty Ijaw community where crude oil was first drilled in Nigeria, remains a sore in the hearts of people with good conscience in the Niger Delta and everywhere else in the world. After being milked of billions of petrodollars by the Nigerian state and Shell Petroleum Development Company, Oloibiri is left abandoned and desolate, a scenario that upsets Mrs. Ethel Spieth, a Niger Delta Amazon, whose unfulfilled dream is to accord Oloibiri its pride of place as the cradle of Nigeria's hydrocarbon industry.
With outstanding contributions that shape the course of major world events, people and places become part of history. It is not in doubt, therefore, that Oloibiri, where crude oil was first struck and explored on a commercial scale in Nigeria, remains a historic community. Unlike its contemporaries in the League of Oil-Producing Nations, however, Oloibiri was discarded and forgotten as soon as its oil wells dried up. It is a case of injustice that Mrs. Ethel Spieth has spent the better part of her active life to address. In the late 1970s, under the administration of Melfred Okilo, the first civilian governor of Old River State, Mrs. Spieth was appointed chairperson of the River State Tourism Board. She immediately embarked on a search for tourist sites to be developed and commercialized for revenue generation. It was in the process that she stumbled on Oloibiri.
At that time, River State and Bayelsa State were one. And I was commissioned to go around the states and look for tourist attractions. So we decided to go around. We went to Akasa, went to Brass, the war cemeteries and things like that. And then we also went to Bayelsa State to see the first oil well. They said it was the first oil well. I didn't know. I've never seen one before. But when we got there, I noticed something that looked like a cross. That was what attracted me as a person. So as we were looking around, I saw it and I said, what is that looks like a cross? And they said, one of the members on the committee said, oh, that is not a cross, that's a Christmas tree. So I said, what is a Christmas tree? Because I know Christmas trees at home at Christmas time. That didn't look like one. And they said, no, that's an it's called Christmas tree in the oil industry. That is the Oloibiri Oil Well #1. I was so surprised and happy. Everybody was excited because that oil changed a lot of things in Nigeria. So after that, me and my board now decided that that should be one of our attractions.
Young and vibrant at that time, Mrs. Spieth was able to quickly assemble a team to draw up a blueprint for the establishment of National Oil Center Oloibiri. Her dream was to have Oloibiri permanently engraved in the annals of crude oil and gas production.
And we decided that no, we should get some other members of the community involved and let's form a board to work on this. So we got from the NMPC, we got the public relations manager who is now a traditional ruler in Anambra State, Alex Nwokedi. We got Feyi from the ELF. We got representing the oil companies. We got Dr. Ekpo, the Director General of the Museum Commission, to be on the board. We got the Director General of the Tourism Tourism Board, Federal Tourism Board. He also was on that committee. And we formed this committee and started talking about what to do with it. That this is a very interesting point that Nigerians should know about. We should sort of build a museum and, be able to tell the Nigerians how oil came into Nigeria. Have an exhibition center where the story of oil can be told from its inception. So we agreed, let's go to an architect who would help us to shape this whole thing. Who is this architect of high repute? Dr. Alex Ekweme, the Vice President of Nigeria. We all carried ourselves and went to Lagos to see him. We explained it all to him. Immediately, he supported us. He bought the idea and said it's laudable and that he would want to be involved in it. He came to Oloibiri with his wife. And then he came to Oloibiri, the chiefs were all there, and all the expatriates, not managing directors, the general managers of all the oil companies in Rivers State at that time were present. And could you imagine, can you believe that amongst all these, there was an assistant general manager or general manager operations, who today is the Obi of Onitsha, Nemeka. Yeah. He was there from beginning to end.
Having successfully sold her idea to the presidency in the Second Republic, President Shehu Shagari flew into Oloibiri to perform the foundation laying ceremony for the proposed National Oil Center.
The state government was very, very supportive because don't forget, Okilo came from there. Every group with their own little helicopter, they flew in from Lagos to Oloibiri. And the president came. And the Secretary General of the World Tourism Organization came. And every African ambassador whose mainstay of livelihood was tourism was present.
The project suffered a huge setback when the Shagari government was toppled by a military coup. Dismayed at the turn of events, Mrs. Dieter Spiff left for London in pursuit of other interests. Almost a decade after, in the early 1990s, she was invited by the new government of Rufus Adder George to reactivate the Oloibiri project. Again, there was another coup that truncated the project.
We started working all over again, looking for other areas, how we could put together to actualize what we were looking for. The government changed again. Adder George was removed. Abacha came. Abacha didn't want to hear anything about Niger Delta. Abacha didn't want to hear anything about oil well number 1 or what. What would I do? I carried the oil well number 1 to United Nations. I have proof. I went on the platform of Rivers Today. That was a club in London. So I went on that platform and carried on my papers and everything, wrote to them. They gave me an audience to speak. I spoke at United Nations. I have proof.
Ever since, Mrs. Dieter Spiff has had sleepless nights over her long unfulfilled dream to have Oloibiri transformed from its squalid state into a flourishing tourist center. On 2 occasions, she was disappointed by circumstances beyond her control, but she feels even more pain by the indifference and betrayal she encountered in her quest to entrench Oloibiri on the world map. After her idea was stolen and resold to the federal government, the contract for the establishment of the Oloibiri Oil and Gas Museum was awarded in 2012. Sadly, nothing has been heard of the project since then.
35 billion naira, according to the press report that we have. This money was budgeted to Petroleum Development Trust Fund. And Petroleum Development Trust Fund and the Bureau for Public Enterprise worked hand in hand to award contracts to individuals, some of them from Dubai, some from other places. Nobody knows what has happened to that money, nor to the contract awarded, or what was their intention. Why since then nothing had happened? Did they return the money to the federal government, or are they still keeping the money and paying people who they said did some work for them, or what? Nigerians would like to know. Niger Deltas would like to know what happened to that money. Please let us leave a monument of how we started and where our wealth came from. Let us come together and develop the first oil well. Not only the federal government, all the oil companies and owners of oil blocks, please, this is your responsibility. You feed from that. Take care of the hen that lays the golden egg.
Mrs. Ethel Dieter Spiff, the brain behind the Oloibiri Oil and Gas Museum, feels the numbing pain behind a long unfulfilled dream. Yet, it is a dream for which she continues to live. In spite of all the setbacks it has encountered over the years, she's optimistic that one day, perhaps not in her lifetime, Oloibiri will get its due attention and recognition as the cradle of the hydrocarbon industry in Nigeria.
Inside the Niger Delta.